Court is back in session in two cases, cause number 32787
it went back on. It stopped working.
and cause number 32826.
It's working again.
Both cases are State of Texas versus Tracy Joseph Haynes. Mr. Haynes acknowledged that that was his full name. Mr. Haynes is represented in this case by attorney Ryan Matuska, and attorney Matuska have waived the record in Mr. Haynes' cases. Now, Mr. Haynes, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, and this is in cause number 327878. This document was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. And this document alleges that on or about September 1st of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespassing. Mr. Haynes, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Haynes, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Haynes, I also have before me a document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials TH that are on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Mr. Haynes, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Haynes, did you also sign this document?
Yes.
On the next document, Mr. Haynes, that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Haynes, there's a signature at the bottom of this document above the line that is titled Defendant. Did you also sign this document?
Yes.
At the top of this same document, there are two boxes that are checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And Mr. Haynes, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Haynes, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I have just mentioned to you, did your attorney Matuska, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read it and understand everything that he went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Haynes, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Judge. State offer States 1.
Any objections, Mr. Matuska?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Matuska, you've advised and counseled Mr. Haynes. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir. He's good.
Mr. Haynes, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Haynes, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea in this case, the state's recommended confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 10 days. We're asking that the court give the defendant credit for the 10 days that he's previously spent in custody, essentially making this a time-served agreement. Additionally, we would ask that the court tax and retire the court costs using said jail time. And lastly, the plea includes a dismissal pursuant to Chapter 1245 of the companion case appearing in cause number 328286, also a criminal trespass case.
Okay, Mr. Haynes, the state is offering that you serve 10 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 10 days. Therefore, you will be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $327, but you would not have to pay the $327 because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. The state will also be dismissing the companion case, cause number 328286. Mr. Haynes, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer, in your case, is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Mr. Haynes, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Haynes, this will conclude your cases. If nothing else is holding you in, you should be getting out today. You're free to go. Follow the bailiff and you have a blessed day.
Okay.
Travis Ryden. Hold on a minute.
Who? Riding. Riding.
The court is back in session. The court is back in session. And cause number 332810. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Travis Brett Ryden. Mr. Ryden,
Yes, sir.
is that your full name?
Yes, sir. Well, Travis Brett Riding. Yes, sir.
Yes. Mr. Ryden, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ryden, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ryden, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Ryden?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Ryden, I have before me an information that has been filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about June 25th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault family violence. Mr. Ryden, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Ryden, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty. Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ryden, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials, TBR, that are on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Mr. Ryden, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Ryden, did you also sign this document?
I did, sir.
On the next page, well, on the next document, Mr. Ryden, that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Ryden, did you also sign this document?
I did, sir. Yes.
And at the top of this same document, Mr. Ryden, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Ryden, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled Discovery Certification?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Ryden, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I have just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, he did.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, I did.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ryden, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, I am. Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Judge. State offer States 1.
Any objections, Mr. Matuska?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Matuska, you've advised and counseled Mr. Ryden. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Ryden, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Ryden, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers are freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea in this case, the state's recommended confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 30 days. We're asking that the court give the defendant credit for any time that he's legally entitled to. And that's it, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Ryden, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case, Mr. Ryden, is $327. Mr. Ryden, will you be able to pay the $327?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ryden, I have before me a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. And this document has your name on it. And it also states that you do not have any, this document was signed July 17th of 2022. It states that you had no income and you have no expenses. Now, Mr. Ryden, is your situation still the same today?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Ryden, the court is going to find that you are indigent, and based on that finding indigency, the court cost in this case of $327 will be waived. That simply means, Mr. Ryden, that you would not have to pay it because the court is finding that you're indigent, and it's being waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, God bless you as well. Now, Mr. Ryden, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, I do.
And do you think the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, I do.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, I do. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ryden, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Ryden, this will conclude your case. Now, Mr. Ryden, I must give you an admonition, and in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonish you of the following. You are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013A, firearms means any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is 1, an antique or carry-over firearm manufactured before 1899, or 2, a replica of an antique or carry-over firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, Unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, Unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, Violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protected water. Now, Mr. Ryden, you will be given a copy of this ammunition at the jail. This will conclude your case. Please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
You too. God bless you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next? David Smith.
Who?
David Smith.
Smith.
How are you doing?
All right, now, just hold on a minute, Mr. Smith. Court is in session in cause number 321-222. The case is styled the State of Texas versus David Smith. Is State of Texas versus David Fred James Smith. Mr. Smith, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Smith, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Smith?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Smith, you're represented in this case by your attorney, Ryan Matuska. Attorney Matuska, do you waive a record in Mr. Smith's case?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, I have before me a motion to revoke probation. This motion was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office on February 8th of 2021. This motion alleges that you, David Fred James Smith, was tried on January 29th of 2020 for the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, and you were found guilty, and your punishment was assessed at 180 days confinement in the Jefferson County Jail and a fine of $1,000. The confinement was probated for a period of 2 years. In the state's motion, there are 5 allegations. And state, are you abandoning allegations 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Your Honor, the state's electing to proceed on allegation 1, and we would move to abandon allegations 2 through 5.
Okay, let's hold on. Let me go off the record on this here.